Good evening. Today we are going to do some very important multiple choice questions on economy and polity. So, the term West Texas Intermediate, sometimes found in news, refers to a grade of A. Crude oil, B. Bullion, C. Rare earth metals, and D. Uranium. A. The correct answer here is A. Crude oil. According to US Energy Information Administration (EIA), West Texas Intermediate (WTI) crude oil is of very high quality and is considered as sweet crude oil. It is a specific grade of crude oil used as a benchmark for all pricing. Then comes bullion. What is bullion? Bullion refers to gold and silver in bar or ingot form. It does not refer to type of oil. According to EIA glossary, bullion refers to refined gold and silver in bar or ingot form. Then rare earth elements. Rare earth elements are 17 metallic elements used in various technologies. According to US Geological Survey, the rare earth elements are a group of 17 elements with unique chemical properties that are key ingredients in modern technologies. Then comes uranium. Uranium is a heavy metal used as a fuel in nuclear power plants. As per EIA, uranium is a radioactive element used to produce fuel for nuclear power plants. It is not related to crude oil. So the correct option here is A. Crude oil. In India, the term public key infrastructure is used in context of public key structure is used in context of digital security infrastructure. As per the Controller of Certifying Authorities (CCI) in India, the term public key infrastructure in India is used in context of digital security infrastructure. Digital security infrastructure. TKI is crucial for the growth of e-commerce and e-governance by ensuring trust in electronic environments. It achieves this through one, the use of digital signatures based on asymmetric key cryptography providing authentication, integrity, and non-repudiation of electronic transaction. The Information Technology Act 2000 underpins the legal framework for digital signatures and PKI, recognizing digital signatures as having the same legal status as handwritten signatures. The Act also establishes the CCA role in licensing and regulating certifying authorities that issue digital signature certificates. Which one of the following is not a subindex of World Bank Ease of Doing Business Index? Now this question is very important. The World Bank Ease of Doing Business Index does not include subindex for maintenance of law and order. The index captures regulations that impact business activity in a country across 10 key indicators. Number 1, starting a business. Number 2, dealing with the construction permits. Number 3, getting electricity. Number 4, registering property. Number 5, getting credit. Number 6, protecting minority investors. Number 7, paying taxes. Number 8, trading across borders. Number 9, enforcing contracts. Number 10, resolving insolvency. While law and order impacts business environment, it is not a specific regulatory measure. The existing indicators directly measure aspects of business regulations. So the correct answer here is maintenance of law and order. The economic cost of food grains to the Food Corporation of India is minimum support price and bonus, if any, paid to the farmers plus A. Transportation cost only, B. Interest cost only, C. Procurement incidental and distribution cost, D. Procurement incidental and charge for godowns. It is transportation cost only. Transportation is the only one component of economic cost to FCI. As per the FCI annual report, it also incurs the cost on storage, handling, interest, etc. Interest cost only. While interest cost is a part of economic cost, FCA also incurs major operational expenditures like handling, storage, and distribution, where substantial public resources are utilized. Procurement, incidentals, and distribution costs. As per the latest FCA annual report, the MSP, its major expenditure are on procurement, incidentals, and distribution costs like loading, unloading, packaging. These reflect key operational costs, procurement, incidentals, and the go down charges. So the correct option here is A, transportation cost only. Increase in absolute and per capita real GNP do not connote a higher level of economic development if agriculture output fails to keep pace with industrial output. Despite having high saving economy, capital formation may not result in significant increase in output due to A, weak administrative machinery, B, illiteracy, C, high population density, D, high capital output ratio. Despite being a high saving economy, capital formation may not result in significant increase in output due to A, weak administrative machinery, B, illiteracy, C, high population density, D, high capital output ratio. High capital output ratio. Which one of the following factors constitutes the best safeguards of liberty in a liberal democracy? A, a committed judiciary, B, centralization of powers, C, elected government, D, separation of powers. The correct option here is D, separation of powers. Separation of powers. D, separation of powers. The separation of powers. The separation of powers between the legislature, the executive, and judiciary constitute an important safeguard of liberty in a liberal democracy. The doctrine of separation of powers entails the division of legislative, executive, and judicial functions of government among different organs. This separation minimizes the possibility of arbitrary access by the government, since all the three organs act as a check and balance on the powers of each other. Therefore, none of the three organs can usurp the essential functions of other organs. The demarcation prevents the concentration of excessive power by any branch of the government. It thus helps in safeguard the liberty and rights of people in a democracy. So separation of powers is very important. It constitutes the best safeguard for liberty in a liberal democracy. What is the position of right to property in India? A. Legal right available to citizens only. B. Legal right available to any person. C. Fundamental right available to citizens only. Neither fundamental right nor legal right. The Supreme Court's ruling safeguards landowners from arbitrary government acquisition, emphasizing adherence to Article 300A, ensuring the constitutional right to property and sub-rights compliance. Procedural sub-rights and the right to property. These seven rights are foundational components of a law that is in tune with Article 300A, and the absence of one of these or some of them would render the law susceptible to challenge. A. Right to notice. Individual must be informed about the intention to acquire their property. 2. Right to be heard. Affected individuals have the right to voice objections. C. 3. Right to a reasoned decision. The government must justify the acquisition with a reasoned decision. 4. Public purpose justification. Acquisition must serve a demonstrable public purpose. 5. Right of restitution or fair compensation. Landowners are entitled to fair compensation of their property. 6. Right to an efficient and expeditious process. Acquisition process should be efficient and adherent to timelines. Right to conclusion. The process concludes with the physical transfer of property. Failure to take possession renders the acquisition incomplete. Right to property in India. Right to property was initially a fundamental right under the Constitution of India, included in Part 3, Article 19 and 31. Through the 44th Amendment Act of 1978, this right was removed from the list of fundamental rights. It was reclassified as a conditional right under Article 300A. Article 300A was introduced to the Constitution, stating that no person shall be deprived of his property save by authority of law. Legal framework. This implies the government can still acquire private property, but this acquisition must be done through a law that justifies the acquisition and provides for fair compensation to affected parties. Current legal status. It is not a fundamental right. The right to property is no longer a fundamental right, which means it cannot be directly enforced through the Supreme Court or High Court under Article 32 or Article 226. However, it remains a constitutional right. Protection under law. Any person deprived of his property under any state enactment can approach High Court challenging the legality of Act under Article 300A. Legal recourse. Affected individuals have the right to legal recourse if they believe that the acquisition was not justified or that the compensation was inadequate. So it is legal right available to any person. Constitutional government means constitutional government means Constitutional government is, by definition, a limited government. It means government conducted according to rules and principles which are binding on all political actors and which therefore help to constrain the unfettered exercise of power by separating or dividing it. The contemporary political systems that combine constitutionalism and democracy share a common basis in that they accord to the will of the majority of people as expressed in free elections. In all such systems, political parties are the key institutions, for they are the agencies by which majority opinion in a modern mass electorate is mobilized and expressed. So the correct option here is D, government limited by terms of constitution. Right to privacy is protected under which article of constitution? It is Article 29. Right to privacy.